Local stories, local people. We're taking you inside Western Mass news. It's the Even Better Western Mass podcast with Dave Madsen.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Even Better Western Mass podcast. Hope you're doing well. My guest this week is a familiar face to all of us in Western Mass, Carla Cosenzi. Carla and her brother Tom are the owners of the Tommy Car Auto Group, the owners of 5 local dealerships. Carla and I talk about how she got her start, the challenges a woman faces in a business long dominated by men, how she takes on those challenges. We also talk about the balance between family and business and how she's managed during the COVID-19 crisis, plus the importance of giving back to the community. Here's my conversation with Carla Cosenzi. In reading up about you, I learned that while selling cars has always been a part of your life, it really wasn't your original career path.
No, it wasn't, but I actually ended up falling in love with it. I went and got my master's in clinical psychology and was at Columbia University and was deciding what I was going to do next, and came home and my dad said, can you help me out at the dealership a little and lend a hand? And in retrospect, I knew exactly what his plan was. And I came home and started selling cars and fell in love with the sales aspect of the business.
Let's talk about your dad, because the Cosenzi name is very well known here in Western Mass, and a dealer in this area for many, many years. And you basically grew up at a car dealership.
I did. I grew up in this business. And then, I think as a lot of young people do, wanted to kind of make my own path. And I felt really strong about that. And it's funny how things come full circle. And it's really interesting how it worked out, because if I didn't come home and learn the business when I did, and my dad got sick, there wouldn't have really been anyone prepared to take it over.
Do you feel now, as you look back on this, that this really was your destiny?
I do. And I have such a strong passion and love for this business and the automotive industry. And like I said, I feel really fortunate that I had so much time to be able to work hand in hand with my dad before he got sick, and even during the time that he was sick, to learn the business. And it's such an honor to be able to carry on his legacy.
Really is. And to expand on it, the fact now that you have 4 dealerships.
Yeah. Well, we just added Genesis, so that puts us at 5 franchises.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So 5 and when you started, did you have a goal of expanding to that, or is it just something that happened over time?
It just happened over time. We really never had the intentions of trying to get bigger or wanting to expand. It just happened to be the right opportunities that fit well in our portfolio.
Tell me about your dad.
Oh, geez. My dad was such an amazing, hardworking man, and he instilled such great work ethic and values in us. And we really work hard now to keep those same ethics in the dealership these days. So you'll see a lot of that in the things that we do, giving back to the local community, and our golf tournament, which we do to keep his memory alive. And you'll see it when you walk throughout the dealership. You'll see a lot of these guys in the Tom Cosenzi golf t-shirts, and everybody has positive stories of him. So it's really cool to still, after 11 years, to still be keeping his name alive throughout the business.
Let's talk about the golf tournament that you started many years ago now in your dad's memory. The last time we saw each other was, I think it was the last public event I did, was the wrap up to the Jimmy Fun, well, actually the kickoff to the Jimmy Fun golf season, which has been pretty much on hold. But you've decided to hold your tournament this year.
We did. We're really excited to have it. It's the third Monday in August. It's at Twin Hills Country Club. Last year, as you know, thank you so much for always supporting us, we hit $1 million. So it was such an honor to be able to put my dad's name at the wall at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And to hit that $1 million threshold meant so much to my brother. So we're so grateful to everybody in the community who's supported us for so long. So we are holding it this year. It won't look like it has in the past, but it will still be a lot of fun, and we'll keep it safe, and we'll make sure people feel safe and comfortable all day, but are still able to come out and golf and enjoy the day at a beautiful course.
Indeed, a very beautiful course. Let's talk about the money to Dana-Farber too, the importance of golf tournaments like yours, because this is, I guess I've always kind of called it for the researchers at Dana-Farber, this is free money. They can do what they need to do and what they want to do with it.
It is. So we actually give the money directly to our father's doctor, Dr. Wen, and his team of neuro-oncologists there. And money like that is really hard to come from. It's usually research, grants. So to get $1 million for him to be able to use at his discretion is huge. And as you know, he comes to the tournament every year and tells everybody there about the strides that he's been able to make in the previous year with the funds that we've donated, which I think is so amazing to hear him talk.
It really is. I mean, these researchers, like the doctor and the others I've met too, they're so humble. I mean, you would never know in just meeting them and talking to them initially that they're saving lives each and every day.
Oh, and he had made such an impact on our family and my dad's when my dad was ill, his bedside manner. He was just such an amazing man.
Really is. I'm having the pleasure to meet him, and again, like we said, very, very humble. I mean, you'd never know that he does the kind of work he does.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you the incentive each and every year, because I know it was for everybody running a golf tournament this year. It was a tough decision to make. You just don't know.
Yeah, there's so much uncertainty in the world, as you and I have discussed. So, and we want to make sure we're making the right decision to keep people safe and that people feel comfortable. But we also want to keep the tradition alive. And we feel that at this point, people want to go out and they want to enjoy a day. So, if we set up the day properly with social distancing and masks and properly sanitizing, we think that we can still make it fun and make sure people feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I think people are just really, really just they want some sense of normalcy, and
Yeah.
golf tends to do that for us. As bad as I play, it still does it.
Yeah, me too. That's why I don't play.
Well, you're busy. I mean, you describe yourself as a control freak. It's got to be tough as the dealerships get bigger and the golf tournament gets bigger too. But you've just got a great team of folks on both sides, the golf tournament and in your dealerships.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. I have so many great people that believe in my vision and help to execute it, and believe in me and what I'm trying to accomplish. And honestly, without them, none of it would be possible. And our employees work tirelessly, both in business and to support our golf tournament and to support the success that it's been for this many years. So for that, I'm really grateful. I mean, I think they start to expect my, craziness at this point. So we hand open all of our roses. So if that gives you any sense of what it's like.
Carla, let's talk about being in the automobile dealership business. This really, for so long, was an industry that was dominated by men. Let's talk about some of the challenges you face and possibly continue to face in day-to-day operation.
Yeah, so this really still is a male dominated industry. So less so now than probably it was when I got involved. And I got involved young. I was the owner's daughter. I was a female. So a lot of things working against you. But that's part of what I loved about it. And that's part of what made me work really hard and gave me um, the success that I have today, because I wanted to prove myself and I wanted to be better and I wanted to grow in the dealership in the different positions and prove people wrong. So that's part of what that fuel that I needed to be better every day. You still see, it's funny, we attend a lot of the National Automotive Dealer meetings, and I go with my brother. Obviously we're partners, right? And people always tend to assume that I'm his wife. I'm never the business partner. It's just an automatic assumption that I'm his wife there with him. So there still is a lot of that stigma in this business. But what I love about it is trying to get females involved in it. Young women who have a passion for it. I love the ability to be able to mentor them. And even if it's not in this business, but in a different field, to be able to mentor them and show them that females can be successful. We're really proud to say that we employ a lot of females in positions that you wouldn't naturally assume would be a female position. We have a female service manager. We have a number of female service advisors. We have a female parts manager. So we have a lot of women in non-traditional roles doing amazing work here. And I'm really proud of that.
As you should be. And, and I should give a disclaimer to let everyone know too that the two cars that we drive, I bought from Country Hyundai. So,
And
and
thank you.
and but a big part of that is I see that every time we go up there. Plus, the service. It's like once you sell an automobile to someone, it doesn't end there. It continues as long as they own that car.
Oh, yeah. So you have to be really comfortable where you're doing business, right? And you have to believe in the people there. And we really believe in the customer's experience. Buying a car is a really big purchase. Servicing it takes a lot of trust in who you're putting your vehicle in their hands to take care of it and make sure it receives the proper service it deserves. So we take that very seriously. And I think that it helps that my brother and I are in the stores a lot, maybe more than we would want to be. But that I think that makes a huge difference in a customer's experience when they buy a car from our group.
Sure. And how do you balance that? Because, well, I do know that in each of your dealerships, you have people who've been with you for a long time and who you trust.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. We don't have a lot of turnover. The majority of our management staff has been homegrown. They started in lower positions and slowly have worked their way up and have been here 5 to 10 years plus. So we're really lucky. They understand our culture, they believe in our vision, and they execute it. So for that, it helps us to be able to balance and grow. And we're really grateful for them. We have some great people. As you know, the team at Hyundai has been here as a team a long time together.
I remember too when the first car we bought was my wife Linda's Sonata, and you and I have known each other for a long, long time, and we're going back and forth and everything else. And you went right out to Linda and you said, "So what's it going to take?" You didn't come to me. You went to Linda.
Yes.
What's it going to take to make a deal on this car? And I was so impressed because that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that gets lost, especially in this business, that it's about the person buying the car and their needs and their wants. And people tend to turn to the husbands or the males that are there. And that's not right.
Yeah. And I should say too, because usually when Linda's looking for a car, it'll take 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes up to a month. This took 2 hours.
Ha ha.
So,
That's good to hear.
so it was impressive on all fronts. Carla, I know you do share your message with young women and well, students of all kinds at schools up and down the valley.
Yeah, we work hard to get ourselves out there and to be available to women who need advice or are starting a business, or something I struggled with a lot when I first got involved was with leadership. So I enjoy talking to other women about leadership and being in a leadership role at either a young age or being a female in a leadership role in a male dominated industry.
I mean, given that fact too, and the fact that you do your own television ads when you walk into a school, I'm sure they look say, "Well, there she is. I see her on TV all the time."
Yes, they do. They recognize me more than I normally would think. Yes.
Carla, let's talk about balancing family and business too. I think that's the other aspect of what you do. You've been able to do it, and I'm sure, like with any family, and especially now with everything that's going on with COVID-19, it's not easy.
No, it took me a long time to learn that when I'm home, and my focus is on my family and my children and them only. And when I'm at work, I'm here to work and I use my time efficiently and effectively. So when I can be home, I can give them all my attention. That was something that I struggled with little, but that I have learned is really important to get that balance, because your family deserves it. And this is a really demanding business with really long hours. So it's important early on to have found that balance.
I think the other part of that too, we talked about you doing your ads that people do expect to see you there. It's the Cosenzi name is on everything you do.
Well, that's what I really have always prided myself in, is being here, right? That you can see me on TV. If you have an issue, I'm here. I'm at one of the stores 6 days a week. So if you need anything, I'm always available. There's a spot on our website that you can write to me, contact Carla. I will get back to you, or somebody will get back to you with a time that I will be able to get back to you. So I really I enjoy that aspect of it. I enjoy knowing who my customers are and being available to them.
Carl, let's talk about too the challenges that COVID-19 really laid at your front desk from the middle of March and to this day. I mean, initially you just basically had to shut most everything down, didn't you?
Yeah, it was, I think that that's a time in my life that I'll never forget, when they announced that the state was shutting down, and how scared we all were as a community and a country, watching the news in those first couple weeks. But we worked really hard to persevere through that. Our service department stayed open. We picked up, dropped off, and immediately got proper supplies to be able to sanitize and disinfect customers' vehicles, and to be able to keep our employees safe and to be there for the community. We found that more than I had ever anticipated, there were nurses and doctors and healthcare workers at the local hospital that really needed us, that needed service on their vehicles, and didn't have the time to get here. So we were doing a lot of picking up and dropping off. I tell people I was busier in those first month than I had ever thought I was going to be or anticipated, and I've never worked so hard. And we immediately followed that up with online sales and being able to meet customers' needs 100% with an online transaction. I think that we were really fortunate because we had already had the infrastructure for online sales. It was already on our website. We had been advertising it. We had been advertising that we'll bring test drives and we'll bring vehicles to you. So our showroom was already set up for it. Our staff was already trained on it. So we were really fortunate. That was an easy transition for us. I think we worked really hard to keep ourselves busy, to keep that going. That there wasn't the downtime to be as nervous and scared as I think we would have been otherwise.
Yeah, and I've
That
spoken
makes
to.
sense.
Yeah, it does. Spoken to a lot of businesses who had a semblance of an internet presence, but not like you had, so that you could just basically shift gears. Many of these companies basically had to start from ground zero, and it took them a little bit longer.
Yeah, we were really lucky. We've had a program called Click Drive Buy that we've been advertising. I think it's been over 6 years, where you can 100% buy a car online. And then within the last couple years, we announced the new program called Tommy Car Go, where we were delivering test drives and vehicles that you purchased straight to your house, as well as picking up and dropping off your vehicle for service. So the infrastructure was there. It was just really putting it in motion now.
Now, I'm guessing too that there are many of the things that have happened over the last few months that will probably be a permanent part of how you do business.
Yeah, online sales have continued to soar for us. So that we had a lot of support from the manufacturers on great incentives, 0% financing on new and pre-owned cars, payment protection for job loss, payment deferrals, low interest rates. So there were a lot of things happening in the market that, in combination with our online infrastructure, that allowed us to maintain sales. And we're seeing, even now that our showrooms are allowed to be open, that most people prefer to transact online. I don't know if it will stay like that, but it's continued longer than we originally anticipated.
That's interesting. I remember as a kid going with my dad, and the dealerships that were back on King Street then, and your customer base was basically Hampshire County. But I'm guessing, through your advertising and now through your internet presence and internet sales and everything else, how far does that extend now?
Oh, far. We were just talking about that in our sales meeting this morning. We do a lot of New York business, Connecticut, Rhode Island, let alone our own, right outside of our own market. So the internet has really opened up our ability to sell outside of the state.
I can imagine too. And as you look at this, any other plans as far as what you can do? Do you think, are you pretty comfortable with where you are right now, to keep your business going and keep it going strong as this plays out? Because I mean, really, I think the other part of the COVID-19 thing right now is the unknown.
So that's the scariest, the uncertainty. We're taking it day by day. We're trying to do the best we can every day, making sure that we keep our employees safe, that this is a safe environment for our customers. So I think it's important to just take every day as it comes and do your best as you can every day, because there is so much uncertainty that you can make yourself sick over it.
Confidence too that with the plan that you have in place, you'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, we were really fortunate. The online infrastructure really helped, and our sales continue, and the support from the manufacturer. Our Hyundai store had record months in the last couple months. Our Volkswagen store broke a record 2 months ago. So sales have been much better than we had anticipated. Thank
That's
goodness.
thank goodness. That is good to
And
hear.
we have our Volvo store moving on to Damon Road September 1st. So that's a really big, exciting change for us to have all of our stores within a mile of each other.
That's true. Let's remind folks of all your dealerships.
So we have Country Nissan in Hadley on Route 9. We have Country Hyundai and Northampton Volkswagen on King Street in Northampton. We have Genesis of Northampton on King Street in Northampton. And we have Volvo Cars Pioneer Valley that is in South Deerfield currently, but will be on Damon Road as of September 1st.
That's good for you. At least you won't be putting on as many miles as you have been.
Yeah, I love South Deerfield. It's a great community and a beautiful place, but it will be so refreshing to have all of our stores that close.
Indeed. Carla, let's talk about, and you mentioned this, with the golf tournament, but you have been very involved in the community, and it goes beyond the golf tournament. And I know, talking to you in years past too, that's part of your business plan. And I can imagine that with COVID-19, that makes it a little more difficult, but I know you're still committed to the community.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that took precedence when COVID happened, was being able to support our local community, especially the healthcare workers, and secondly, the local businesses and the restaurants in our market. So what we did was, we have a Tommy Card Rewards program, which you're familiar with, and we have a lot of merchants on that program. We immediately, in conjunction with our customers, matched their Tommy Card Reward points and bought food from our local merchants and restaurants, and then delivered that food to the hospitals. So it was a great way to partner with the community and support the local businesses and feed our healthcare workers. So I think that shows how important our local community is. In a time like that, that was one of the first things that we rolled out. And it was really special to us to be able to be there for the community and the healthcare workers at the same time in such a time of need. And I think that is something that got instilled by my father in business and in myself and my brother. So again, it's really nice to be able to carry that on.
Well, that's the other part with so many big companies and big dealerships and everything else. And yes, you are a good sized dealership, but the bottom line is you're local. You have a stake in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I live here. My kids go to school here. I shop local, flourish and thrive, and to be able to help support them, because they're the people who support us and make us successful.
Carla, if there's one message you could give to young women who are looking at a business career, what would it be?
Never give up. So you're going to have times that it's going to be tough, and you're going to want to go sit in your car and cry, but you got to pick yourself back up and keep going, because it will all be worth it.
Now, as you look at the Tommy Group right now, you have 5 dealerships now. Where do you see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
Oh, that's such a hard question, because we never really have the intention of getting bigger. But opportunities keep presenting them to ourselves that we seem unable to be able to pass up. But we're really comfortable in the place that we are now. And we hope to just continue to make sure that the stores that we have are operating well and are successful.
As you do expand like that, because I know when many businesses expand, it may be difficult at first to try to keep a handle on everything, because it's just so much bigger. How do you manage to do that day in and day out, to basically be the same as you were when you owned one dealership, when you now own 5?
It's such a struggle, and it really all comes down to people and process, and having the right people to be able to carry out the process. So that's why we're not anxious to grow, and we don't have plans of trying to get bigger. We want to make sure that the stores that we currently have are really, really well run, that they're serving the community up to our expectations before we look to get any bigger, because it's hard. It's really difficult to be the type of owner that's this hands-on and that we want to be, getting any bigger than we are.
I see your beautiful children in your TV ads. Do you think that they have a future in the auto dealership business?
Oh, geez, I can already see my daughter sitting out at the sales desk telling people, and they're in the car and they're like, "There's a Hyundai from you, Mom. There's a Volkswagen from you." And everything in our house, our blankets, our Volkswagen, we're always representing. It's in their blood. I would be surprised if they didn't want to follow. They really enjoy it.
Well, a great role model for your children too. That's the other part of it. And I know it can't be easy. You look at so many people, and especially in this COVID-19 era, where the kids are at home. It's hard to balance it, and the fact that now in addition to running your businesses and everything else, you have to be their teacher.
Oh, that was I can't, that was a real struggle for me. My daughter's in kindergarten, and trying to teach a kindergartner to read, math was more of our thing. I give so much credit to the parents out there that were doing it during this. Luckily my son was only in preschool, so I only had to worry about my daughter, but yeah, what a struggle.
And I imagine too, it could be a struggle for many of the people who work for you, trying to, again, how everything changed so suddenly in March, and all of a sudden, the kids are at home, and I can't imagine. Being retired really did help for me. It really didn't affect us all that much, but working families, it's just a struggle.
And the uncertainty moving forward of a child's schedule and being able to maintain a job and not know when your child's going to school, or if they're going to school, or if it's half days or split days. And it's really a tough time for parents, especially working parents or families that have dual incomes.
Carla, let's remind folks about the golf tournament coming up. And let's see, when this airs, it'll be a little over a week from then.
Yep, so it's the third Monday in August. It's at Twin Hills Country Club. You can still find out how to get involved or volunteer or golf by visiting Tom Cosenzi, drivingforthecure.com.
And we talk involvement. I mean, they can always make donations, and they can always donate stuff for your raffles and whatever else. There's always a way to get involved.
There's always a way to get involved. And we didn't announce we were having the golf tournament until I think 2 weeks ago. So normally we had already have been planning for 6 months. So when it's going to be a struggle. So any help that we can get, we're very appreciative of.
Well, the other part too with your golf tournament, seeing it in years past, you have a solid core of volunteers who have been with you year in and year out.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. A lot of our employees volunteer and enjoy volunteering and help us every year. So I'm thankful to them. Because honestly, without them, we would have never been able to be as successful or for the tournament to have grown as big as it has.
My thanks to Carla Cosenzi, and of course, my best wishes for another successful Driving for the Cure. And thanks to you for watching or listening to this week's edition of the Even Better Western Mass podcast. Stay well, and if you can, join me next week.